Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Ron, and thank you for stopping by. If you're subscribed to my channel or you've been following my videos for a while, then you know I've been getting ready for my first FPV flight. Well, today I attempted my first maiden voyage with the Rotor Riot HD1 build, and something went terribly wrong. So let's just jump right into what happened. I'll start by coming clean and admitting to destroying my first set of FPV props today. And for this reason, I wanted to make this video. Additionally, despite all the YouTube videos I watched, this one particular issue wasn't even on my radar, and I hadn't even thought of it as a pre-check before flying. So what was the problem I had today? Well, my props were not properly installed. It's that simple, and something that I completely overlooked. If you're like me and you've been flying DJI products for the past few years, then you know that DJI has those white markings on all their props to easily identify where the props fit with regard to each motor. You've got clockwise and counterclockwise props for your DJI quads. However, with the FPV props, you don't have any indication on the props at all. Also, most FPV props don't come with any instructions or markings with them. They're just clear packaging with the props in them and nothing else. So I bought the Johnny FPV 4.8 by 3x8 props. They're gray and orange from Rotor Riot's website, rotorriot.com. And at first glance, I assumed they were all the same prop since they had no distinguishing markings on them at all. They all just appeared to look identical. But in reality, you get two counterclockwise props and two clockwise props in the packaging. Now, if you're not aware, I'll go over what to look for and how to install these on your FPV unit. First, make sure you know the top versus the bottom of the props. The tops will have some sort of markings on them, and on the Johnny FPV props that I bought, they're so small, the markings on them are on the top only and nothing on the underside or the bottom of the props. So once you know which side is the top, you want to identify what's called the leading edge of your prop versus the trailing edge of your prop. The leading edge of your prop will be the high side of the prop if the propeller is laying flat, and the trailing edge will be the low side of the prop if it's laying flat. Remember, your props create lift for your quads and push the air down, which in turn causes the quad to rise upward. The high side, or the leading edge side, will always be facing in the direction that the motors are rotating. I'll say that again. The leading edge side of your prop will always be facing in the direction that the motors are rotating. On my quad, the front two motors spin inward and the back two motors spin outward. Again, just make sure your leading edge or high side spin in the direction that the motor's spinning. If you're not sure which direction the motors are actually spinning, you can do like I did, and I put some tape on each of the motors and then just spin up the motors in Betaflight to better see which direction they're actually spinning. Or you can just take a piece of paper and press it up against each motor to help identify the direction the motor's spinning. Just do this test when the props are not on. Just want to reiterate that. Do not do this with the props on. You're going to end up with some damaged fingers. One other thing I forgot to mention, on the adjacent propellers from one another, so the propellers that are opposite one another, they'll be going in the same direction. So this is the high side on this prop, so it's spinning in this direction. This is the high side on this prop. So these two propellers will rotate in the same direction, and then these two propellers on opposite ends of the quad will rotate in the same direction. So again, the high side being here, low side being here, high side moving in that direction, high side here, moving in that direction. High side here, moving in that direction. High side here, moving in that direction. So if nothing else I learned today about installing my FPV props, totally different than the DJI stuff, and I wasn't aware of this. I put this video together because I'm sure if I've done this, others probably will as well. And obviously, I thought I had all my bases covered with pre-checks and even double-checked the direction of my motors and which way they were spinning in Betaflight, and did all kinds of other pre-checks with all my other gear, the goggles, the remote controller, my batteries, checking all the, all the SD cards were, in the air unit, in the goggles, checking all the different parameter settings, arm switches. I mean, there's just tons of information when you're getting an FPV, and it can be a bit overwhelming. So obviously, again, flying FPV can certainly be a bit overwhelming, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat this in my videos. I wanted to share with you guys the issues I'm having as I'm getting into the hobby. Again, I hope a few of you may find this helpful. And if you do install your props wrong, and you could see it in the video, that your quad's just gonna flop, forward, backward. It's just gonna, as soon as I hit the throttle a little bit, I could see the front end started to lift, but the back end wasn't coming up. So I almost immediately knew something wasn't right. So when that quad, when you first start moving that throttle up, you should see your quad rising evenly and clearly. In the video, I'll slow it down. In the video, you'll see it. The front end came up, and then it just flopped over like a turtle. So again, if you did find this information to be helpful, please be sure to give the video a big thumbs up. And stay tuned, as I'm hoping the weather cooperates later this week, and I'll make a second attempt trying to get the FPV up in the air. And even today's attempt, it was 25-mile-an-hour winds. I really just wanted to test everything and maybe just take it out about 100 yards and back just to make sure everything was working. And yesterday I was going to try to do it. Today's Sunday. I was going to try to fly yesterday as well, but really foggy and a bit rainy yesterday. Today dealing with the wind, so I'm hoping that later this week, weather permitting, I'm going to get a second attempt. So stay tuned for that. And I'll admit I'm a bit nervous about this maiden flight when I finally get everything up and running, but I'm staying optimistic, and I know that it's a process. So please feel free to leave your comments below if you're also getting an FPV, and let me know how things are going for you, and maybe any first experiences that maybe you had, or if you're just getting into it, any issues that you may be running into as well. I'd love to hear your comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell for future notifications. Again, I hope you found this information to be helpful, and if you did, please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. It really does help support the channel. That's it. So until next time, guys, take care, be safe, and happy flying.